Black Guys on White Movies to talk Gladiator 2, the Ridley Scott epic starring Denzel Washington and a bunch of other dudes are in it.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
But this is about Denzel. A note about the pod, I was finally able to start a separate YouTube page for Black Guys on White Movies. So all
Mm,
new content will be on that page. I just kind of didn't want to create a whole Google thing, and maybe it did, but I found a way to do it from my YouTube page just by clicking one button.
okay.
And maybe that's new, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm not as savvy as I want to be all the time. Either way, you can now just go to YouTube, Black Guys on White Movies, for the videos of these podcast episodes.
That was intense.
Yeah.
It started off
Um,
informative and it ended up very intense.
People got to know. They got to get there right now and subscribe. Subscribe, like the video, talk in the comments. That's where we can really have discussions about it because I don't know how to use Discord really. And there's other apps and things, but we could also just talk right in the comment section. Your thoughts and
Absolutely.
opinions on these movies, the whiteness of these movies, the lack of this or that, whatever. And since we did Gladiator not too long ago, and Bernard is
Yeah.
a Roman history connoisseur,
Kind of, yeah, for sure.
we wanted to do Gladiator 2 when it came out. So we went out and saw it, and we have thoughts. We have lots of thoughts and opinions, and
Okay.
and and I have general history questions. We can get into like who these people were in real life or who they
Sure.
represent, maybe.
Yeah.
And also this is great because now this is officially a franchise, and I love to talk franchises.
Oh, yeah,
So we
this
can
is
get
now a
into
franchise
like
talk.
this is now also a franchise talk, so we
The
can talk
covert
about
franchise talk.
how this worked as a sequel. And right off the bat, before we even get into general opinions,
Yo.
terrible title, terrible title.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2. Okay.
Right.
Why isn't this Gladiator the return of son of
Yeah.
something?
Something.
A 2 is like Iron Man 2. That works. The
Yeah.
Batman 2. That works. Gladiator, this is like an epic historical. It's not even the same character. You got to have
Right.
like the return of the gladiator or revenge of the fallen or any
Yeah.
number of fun title like that.
Yeah. It definitely, I felt, especially, I kind of felt that even in the advertising campaign, like when the trailer and everything came out, but
Yeah,
definitely watching it in the theater and like when the title screen came up and said Gladiator 2, like I was like, this title doesn't match like the epicness of like the music and the everything that they're trying to sell me on the movie, right? I feel like it
right.
should have a subtitle to kind of like really build that out and build out expectations because I don't know that those were, I don't know. I don't know that this film delivers on all his expectations, but anyways, we'll talk about that.
It's tough. It's tough to do a sequel 20 years later,
It really is.
bruh. Like, because in the expectations, and the first Gladiator is an Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
Usually, when we're talking franchises, we're not talking Oscar-winning franchises.
right.
It's like superhero movies, or it's even cartoons, or just fun cult movies, comedies, even. But like,
Yeah.
it's rarely a prestige movie. And this was at a time in the history of movies, like
Yeah. I
a,
mean,
a
it's
a
historical.
historical epic has long been a prestige movie before it kind of veered into more being action movies or being
Hmm.
more. I think Thor was like the one that was like, hey, these can just be fun action movies. They don't have to be too serious.
Yeah.
Wait, what did I call it? I said Thor. I meant to say
You did say
Troy.
Thor.
Did
I
I
was
say
rolling
Troy?
with it.
Yeah, I meant to
Oh,
say Troy.
you said Thor, but I was rolling with it. But yeah, Troy for sure,
Yeah, I feel like we connected that it was Troy, even though I said Thor.
for sure. And there's a
But
definitely Thor borrows some Troy.
oh, 100%. That's funny. That's funny. The first two Thors are very Troy-esque.
Oh, for sure.
But that was like kind of like the Hollywood historical epic. And
Hmm.
Gladiator was like the last maybe of the Oscar prestige bait historical epics.
Yeah, and also like it was a thing that like there hadn't really been a big historical epic in like probably solid 20 years before that, right? It
In
was
a
like
long time.
a reintroduction of like that prestige genre from, the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Exactly.
You know what I
Which
mean?
is funny because we had moved towards American historical epics in the
Mm,
90s,
yeah.
right? Like Last of the Mohicans kind of stuff and Dances
Yeah,
with Wolves
glory
and Glory,
yeah,
Ragtime, a lot of these movies.
for
Even
sure.
even even like modern, like A Time to Kill or Mississippi Burning, which were like
Hmm.
set in I think like the 60s, kind of started the real era of kind of civil rights as an American historical epic.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
And then
Definitely.
Gladiator comes, knocks it out the park, and this Gladiator 2 had been in the works since
Forever.
it was discussed as early as 2001. So
Sure.
since literally since right after the first one, like the first one was successful and they were like, we could do this again,
Yeah,
but it took them
basically,
20 years, 24 years.
basically if they started talking about it in 2001 back then, that means they probably got final count on that global box office and they were like, it took a few months back then, you know what I mean?
Right, right. They wanted to make sure.
They
They
had to
were
make
like,
sure and they're like, all right, let's schedule a meeting.
now what they do is they plan the sequel, and then if the movie doesn't hit, they just send everybody home. They ghost everybody.
Right.
Back then, they sat pins and needles till the second weekend, and they were like, "It's a hit. Okay, let's round up the cavalry. Let's get them back in the room."
Right, right, right. Yeah, it did take 24 years. I remember, there's been a lot of talk about, I think this on the internet, but I remember there being like definitely like a version that was kind of like a spiritual Maximus Returns from Beyond the Grave
Yeah,
version, and
yeah.
there've been a number of different versions. So interesting, the one that we got.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Let's get into like, what did you think? Our opinions of this movie, just general opinions as we get into it more in depth.
Yeah, I can't say that I enjoyed it. I did find it entertaining. Um,
Mm.
really enjoyed Denzel. He's great. I mean, he's just having a blast, and
And like,
it's great to
you
see.
can't you can't tell me in this one, you can't be like, oh, Denzel plays the same character. Like he was a
Mm.
distinctly different
Oh
Denzel in
yeah.
this movie than a lot of other Denzel movies. When he's just like a cop or something.
Oh yeah, that stood out to me definitely because I feel like before the movie, I kept hearing a lot of that, right? It's just
Yeah,
Denzel. Why is Denzel the only one with an American accent? Blah blah blah, all these sort of things. But it was like, nah, he wasn't just doing his Denzel, my man sort of thing. Like
yeah,
this was
yeah, right.
I mean, Denzel's personality is going to shine through. That's why you hire a specific
That's
actor.
why there are stars. That's why there are stars. Their charisma, we want that in the movie. Just
Right.
maybe a different, slightly different shade, but we always want them. That's what a movie star is.
Right. You want Tom Hanks to be Tom Hanks, even when he's this vastly different Tom Hanks, right? Like
Yeah,
that's what you
right.
want. So, anyways, I thought that was really great. He plays another incredible villain. He's got a few of these in his career.
Oh,
Um, yeah.
oh, we will talk about that. Why does Denzel only get recognition, a certain kind of specific recognition from certain people when he's a villain?
You know what's really interesting about that is that like a lot of people like talk about um his role in Training Day, right? As like the kind of the comparing this character to that character. And it's like actually his role in Training Day was the last time that I think the last time that he got that Oscar, and that was the year after um he had had the Oscar stolen from him, in my opinion, by Russell Crowe in Gladiator. He
For
should
what?
have won for he should have won for the Hurricane, the
Hurricane.
Ruben.
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And it like